A task is an assigned piece of work that must be completed within a certain time, like cleaning out the fridge before everything inside it turns green. But hey, maybe you're going green. In any case, to keep track of all the tasks and manage them, it's down below in the navigation pane. It's the task folder. It's that clipboard with the check mark there, meaning that when you have something to do, as far as the task goes, hopefully you're marking them complete. You can also mark your progress off as you're moving along. In any case, go ahead and hover over it. You get the pop-up, the hover peak, which up here it says that there's nothing due later. If you click on it and flip it up, anything due today, don't see anything down below either, so hey, we're good. Let's go ahead and click on the folder, click on it again. Now there's more than one way to create a task here. You can either come up here on the Home tab, click on New Task. You get the subject, the start and due date fields. Let's go ahead and close out. If you're in another folder and you don't want to leave that folder to create a new task, then in that folder, like the contact folder, the calendar, come up here on the Home tab to the New Group, click on New Items, the drop-down arrow, and there you go. You can create a task there. Click off. You can also right-click in a blank area, there's New Task, or double-click in the blank area, there's a new task, or finally, the shortcut keys that are universal but proprietary to the folder, as in if I want to create a new task in this folder, do Control N as in Nancy and it creates a new task. If I did it in the Contacts folder, it would create a new contact. So let's come up here and type in a subject, or the name of the task we want to complete. Create Ghost Hunting PowerPoint Presentation. Ooh, that sounds spooky fun. And then down below we have a due date. You don't have to have any dates. You just go ahead and save and close and that's that. But if you do want a date, you don't have to have a start date. You can say, let's go ahead and say it's due this Saturday the 17th. You can see up here the information area, due in 4 days. So you get the countdown, we got 4. Then if you're like, yeah, I'd like to add a start date. Maybe you don't know when you're supposed to start, but when you do, or you decide that you better start sooner than later, you can do it the same day, today, or let's do it tomorrow. And then down below, reminder, go ahead and check the box, and by default it's going to be the last day that it's due. Well, that's not too helpful. Well, it is because it's earlier in the morning, but by midnight on Saturday the 17th, if I haven't completed it by then, I'm in trouble, and so maybe I want an earlier reminder than the same day. Well, to go ahead and change it, click on the date picker, and let's do the 15th. So it starts on the 14th, or when I should be starting, but if for some reason I don't, I get the pop-up in Outlook. Well, that is, again, you have to have Outlook open to get that pop-up. And by then, if I haven't done anything, oh, well, at least I've got Thursday at 8 a.m. to remind me. That is, if I got the computer on and I get it at 8 a.m., because if I come in that night and then I open up Outlook, well, because it's past 8 a.m., it'll still pop up, but because I came late, it'll pop up at that time, obviously, so keep that in mind. And then about the time, you can click on the drop-down arrow and change any of the times. They're in half-hour increments. Or if you want to get more persnickety, let's go ahead and say it'll be 8:01. And then you can go ahead and hit enter to solidify that. Then you have the status. Well, I haven't started it yet. You can click on the drop-down arrow and say it's in progress. Little flag there to let you know, well, I'm thinking about it. Whatever in progress means to you. And then completed, well, when I click completed, it's going to mark the progress field at 100%. So completed, 100%, information disappears as well as the reminder because, hey, you don't need a reminder if you completed it, right? In any case, let's go ahead and click on the drop-down arrow. We'll talk about this later on, about the different stages and using the mark complete field. In fact, if I just go down even just a little bit that it's not completed, it says it's in progress. But I digress about this part because we'll cover it later. And then waiting on somebody else, it's still at 75% complete or deferred. In any case, let's go ahead and go back to not started. It clears out the percent complete. And then below that, you have the priority, normal. Click on it. You can go low or high, which you get those same options up here in the tags group. High, if I select high here, it says hi to me there. Well, that's fun. Or low, updates it there. We'll go to, well, let's do high. And then go ahead and hit the enter key, and then it updates it here so it's highlighted. Well, let me move out of the way as high importance. You can also mark it as private, as we discussed in earlier training videos, where if you're sharing your, in this case, tasks with other users across the network through the exchange, they won't be able to take a look at the title and find out what tasks you have to complete. It'll just be a block date and a range. They won't even get access to your notes to find out if you do have any notes down below in the field here, which I do, or I will. Let's go ahead and type in some notes, but let me come up here, click on the Format tab. I want to do a list here, so let's click on the numbering 1, 2, 3, and let's do And so what I'm doing is I'm waiting upon Carrie to get me the multimedia for my PowerPoint presentation after she extracts them, the images, video, and audio, so we can have something fun for my presentation, not just text. And then let's see, up here on the Task tab, over in the Tags group, as you recall in earlier training videos for the other Outlook items, you can categorize them, like this is Ghost Hunt. Select that, updates it with the category Ghost Hunt. And by default, all your tasks are going to be flagged, even if you didn't flag them. So when you come up here in the Tags group and click on Follow Up, if you set no date here, you see how it updates here? So even if you don't set it or you get rid of the reminder, when you click on the drop down arrow, it's still flagged as no date. So that will show up in the to-do list and also in the task folder. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. In any case, you can come down here and do a custom, which allows you to go ahead and type in a start date and a due date. And the reminder's already been set. So if I come down here, click on it, and I go back to, let's do the 13th, and then it ends the 13th, and we'll end it on Saturday, which updates the reminder. So keep an eye on that when you start changing your dates, because I don't want a reminder after the 17th. That's too late. Maybe as a reminder, hey, you didn't get it done. Oh, that's not cool. Let's go ahead and click back and say it's got to be, let's do the 15th. 8:01 a.m., click OK. Well, what I do in that window updates here, and what I do here updates, well, that window if I went to it. So follow up. Start by Tuesday, March 13th, 2018. Due by Saturday. Reminders, Thursday, March the 15th. Due in 4 days. And then if everything looks grisly, then just come up here, click on Save and Close, and yay, you just created your first task. Which, by the way, over here in the folder pane, you have a to-do list and a task folder. Now, every task you create is going to be listed in the to-do list, as well as in the task folder. As you recall in earlier training videos, you can flag any Outlook item, contacts, email messages for a follow-up. When you do, they'll show here in the to-do list over in the main window. But that's also for tasks, because tasks are to-do list, even though you could set it where you don't want to flag it. But that's the problem with the task, is that you can't unflag it, even if you set no date. It's still something that needs to be accomplished, and that has to be done, or a to-do. Now, why is that? Well, one reason is that when you want to be able to view everything in one area, the things you have to do, tasks which are to-dos, as well as anything else you flagged to do, like, again, your email messages, you can view it all in one folder, as opposed to separately where you don't want to view all those to-do items, but just the tasks. And you can see over here, you get additional options that you don't get in the to-do list. That's proprietary to the task, where you can actually check it to mark it off. We'll talk about that later. And then you get the exclamation point that's just screaming at you to get it done, or that's muy importante. Let's go ahead and double click to open it up, and well, you make your changes, then go ahead when you're done, save and close. And you can see over to the right, it is flagged even if you change it, or you can come over here and right click on it and say, well, you see you can't clear the flag. The best you can do is say that there's no date, or go ahead and delete it. You can mark it complete, but then that's still part of the flag process. So all your tasks are always going to be flagged and show up in the to-do list, along with any other items that are marked to be done or to be completed as a to-do item. So that way you can view it again all in one spot. Now remember, let me come up here and click on the View tab. That in the Layout group, you have your to-do bar. Let's go over this really quickly. Click on it and go to Tasks. Pulls it up. Do we have any this week? Of course we do. Collapse that if you don't want to see it, if you got a huge list. And that's today and that's later. So you can go ahead and toggle between the two. So nothing due today, but later. And what you want to see is later. Go ahead and turn down the little triangle there to be able to see what's coming up. So you can view it there, as well as we talked about your to-do items, which also includes all your tasks in the calendar. So let's come down here. Click on Calendar, and it's not in the month view, but if we go to the week view, and I come up here and click on the View tab, and then come over here to the Layout group and say Daily Task List, click on the drop-down arrow, and let's make it normal so it pops up. Now remember, it's due by Saturday, so it starts on the 13th. There we go. It's right there. You can go ahead and double-click on it to open it up and make changes, and maybe we can go ahead and say it's due earlier on the 16th. And then go ahead and click Save and Close, and it moves it from Saturday now to Friday as the new due date. Now let's come back up here, click on the Home tab. Again, when you go to the month view, it's not there. When you come up here, click on the View tab, you don't get the daily task list. So it's the other views there, including the day, that. There we go, it's down below. And it's due on Friday now, so if I just toggle over a couple of days to get to Friday, there you go. That's what's due. And it's nice here because you can see a little bell. Tinkerbell is going to remind you, ding-a-ling-a-ling, with the pop-up reminder. And then, of course, the category and then the flag that you can right-click and make any changes there as well. Oh, then also, if you're just looking at the flags here, you can tell if you're getting close because for next week and this week, it's the same shade. It gets a slightly darker shade of red for tomorrow, and then if you see red, oh, you're totally in trouble. That's today. Get it done. As you can see up here is a better example. The daily task list contextual tab, the follow-up group. You see how it goes from a lighter shade to a slightly darker shade to a complete red. There you go. Another way to quickly do a spot check if it's due today, well, if the due date's there, then you're good to go. You don't have to look at the flag and find out if it's an angry red. That's due today. If you have a task that's going to be occurring on a regular basis or a reoccurring task, like let's say cleaning out the fridge every Friday, because if you don't, things in there are just going to get nasty. Well, let's go ahead and create that reoccurring task by double-clicking in a blank area. And then for the subject, it's going to be cleaning the fridge. Come over here to the Reoccurrence Group, click on Recurrence, and there you go. Let's go through the pattern here. You can do it daily, every day, or you can skip a few days and say every 3 days, or you can do it every weekday, skip weekends, or regenerate the new task each day after the task is completed, or every 2 days after it's completed, or 3 or 4. Then you got weekly to recur every week or every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, on a Tuesday or on a Tuesday and a Friday. And then you got the regeneration option as well for weekly. And then you've got monthly, where you can do it the 13th day of every month or the 16th day of every 2 months. Or you could say the 2nd or the 1st, the 3rd or the 4th Thursday of every month or 2 or 3 months. And also the regeneration option here every month. Or you could say every 2 or 3 months. And then yearly, oh, that's going to be ripe, isn't it, if we wait that long? Every March the 13th, change the month every, well, whatever you want to type in, the 30th of March. And then the 2nd Tuesday of March, again, you get your options here. Go ahead and change it if you want the 1st Friday of April. And then you get the regeneration option as well. I'm going to go back to the weekly here and say it's going to be every Friday. So I want to make sure it's just 1 there, not 2, because that would be every 2nd week on a Friday. So we'd be skipping a week. And then down below, we can start this Friday. And to do that, I can just leave it alone because that's not a Friday. So it'll creep through the week, find the Friday on its own, and it's going to be the 16th. And then it'll go ahead and schedule a task to be completed or due on Friday the 16th. But if you're like me and you feel more comfortable by selecting Friday, then go for it. There you go, Friday, with no end date. Oh, that's got to be a job that just goes on forever. Or you could say, hey, I'm only going to do it and end after 5 times that I do it, 5 occurrences. Or you could say, look, I'll do it until I have to jump ship, and that will be end by a certain date, and then go ahead and pick that date. But I'm going to go back to no end date, and then click OK. And then you can see up here in the information area, it's due in 3 days, and it's due every Friday, effective this Friday, March the 16th. And then if you want to add a reminder that day, you can do it earlier than 8 a.m. You can actually do it at 12 a.m. so it pops up. That is, if you're up at 12 a.m. But again, this isn't effective unless you have Outlook open. So if you don't come in until late that night at 6 p.m., when you open it because it's past due, the reminder, it'll pop up, but it's not Outlook's fault. You just didn't open it to be able to get the pop-up, the bong there, the reminder. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that, click Save and Close, and then look over here in the task folder. You can see the differences between the two. This one's normal check. That one's got, I don't know if you can see it, arrows turning in on themselves. That means it's going round and around and it's perpetual, no end date. It's a reoccurring task forever. And you'll also find this in your calendar, cleaning the fridge, which is going to be March the 16th when it starts. So let's come down here, click on calendar, and it's the 16th. Let's go to the 16th. And there we go, clean the fridge. Now, you won't see any additional ones past that until this one's been marked complete. So if I go ahead and go to the next Friday, which, well, you see there's the 16th, and I go to the 23rd, it's not there. But as soon as I mark it as being completed, it'll automatically pop up for Friday, March the 23rd. And then to go ahead and remove the reoccurrence, let's go ahead and go back to our task folder. There it is, double click. Come up here, click on recurrence, and click remove. And it's just doing 3 days. That's it. Just a one-time task for me. I like that. Save and close, and you can see the arrows turning in on themselves are gone. To create a task from an email message, like let's say training video sales last quarter, double click to open it up. You've got all these attachments and then the body of the message. And let's say that I need to create a PowerPoint presentation, which is due, let's say, next weekend. And I want to be able to use these as references. So instead of saving these attachments to the desktop and then re-importing them into the task and then copying and pasting the body of the message into the notes field in the task, you can go ahead and just move this entire message over into the task folder, and it'll automatically convert the message into a task and bring the attachments along with it. Well, that depends upon how you move it, actually where you move it. And what I mean by that is that with the email message open, if I come up here on the message tab to the move group and I click on the move drop down arrow, and there's the option to actually move the entire message into that folder. But for me, I like to keep the original in the inbox for later reference and then just send a copy of it over into the task folder and convert that copy into an actual task. In any case, if I move from within the message to make a copy to the other folder, select the task folder and click OK, well, down at the bottom, it'll actually attach the email message. And then what you're seeing up here is the body of the message. And then, of course, the subject, which was the same subject in the email message, it just copied it over. And then that way, to be able to access the attachments, you can just go ahead and double click to open up the email message, and there's the attachments. So they're right there. And then if you want, you can click and drag that, resize it, and then click and drag and put it over here if you want it, to be a part of the notes, where you can double click within there to actually open it up. Sure, that works. So that way, if you really don't want to double click to open up to get the attachments, just click and drag the attachments from the message here that's attached into your body of the message, maybe somewhere like that. In any case, so that's doing it. Let me go ahead and close out and not save the task from within the message. Now, if I go ahead and close out, with it selected in the inbox here, and I come up here on the Home tab to the Move group, and I click on Move, and I go down to Copy to Folder, and Task is selected, and I click OK, it's not going to copy over the email message with the attachments in it. It just copies over the body of the message. As you can see here, I just get the body, but no email message, a little icon there that when I double click on it will show the attachments. So keep that in mind. If you don't need the attachments, then just go ahead and with it selected in the main view, move it to another folder or copy it as I did. Or if you do need the attachments, then double click to open it up, and phew, that's a lot of explaining. Then go ahead and from within the message, click on Move, copy to folder, task is selected, click OK. There you go. Go ahead and change the title. Say it's got to be a PowerPoint presentation. That's got to be due. We'll start today, and it's got to be due by next Friday. And then we'll get a reminder the same day, Friday. Hey, it's due today. Yeah, I'm good with that. Last minute panic, as it were. It's like, oh, now I have to start. Maybe I better give myself a reminder in case if I actually hadn't started it yet on the 21st, then I can go ahead and it gives me a buffer between the 21st and when it's actually due on the 23rd. Okay, I can go with that, sure. And you can type in any text down below that you want to add to the body of the message. And if everything looks grizzly, there's the information due in 9 days. Click Save and Close. And then let's go ahead and close out of here. Let's go to the task folder and you'll see it. Well, it goes to the to-do list, and any task you create is going to be in the to-do list along with any other Outlook items that you have flagged. If you just want to focus on just the task and not any other Outlook items that are flagged, which I don't have any that are flagged, they're all tasks and all tasks are flagged. In any case, if I did, I can go ahead and just go to task. And also in addition, you get different options in the task folder than you would in the to-do list, where you can go ahead with task, mark it off as being complete, and you can also get the status of, ooh, that's muy importante, as we talked about in earlier training videos. So there's the PowerPoint presentation. It's got an attachment. Double click to open it up, make your changes, and save and close. To create a meeting from a task like cleaning the fridge, to discuss those items that people want to keep on a weekly basis and not have them thrown out at the end of each week when I do the cleaning, or at least for the first cleaning here, With it selected, I can come up here on the Home tab to the Actions group, click on Move, and go down to, well, if I move it to the Calendar folder, it'll convert it into an appointment, and from there, then I can invite other people and it'll convert it into a meeting. But then I won't have that original here, and I want the original here for later reference, so I'll go ahead and say Copy to the folder, choose the calendar. It's going to take the copy, convert it into an appointment, click OK, and it's been converted, the copy. How do you know? Well, gabong. It's just 5 minutes before 2 o'clock here, and it was set up to have this appointment at 2 o'clock. And if you double click to open it up, you can see that the reminder is 15 minutes out. So you can see down below the contents of the task, which is tomorrow. Anytime tomorrow, I just have to clean it out. So let's go ahead and close out of there. And let's dismiss that and go to the calendar so you can see it from the calendar. There you go. That's the appointment that got created from my task that's due tomorrow all day. I just need to complete it by tomorrow. So if I want to double click to open it up here and say, okay, you know what? Let's change this to tomorrow when I'm actually cleaning out the fridge. But let's do it at the end of our working hours. We close at 5, so let's do it from 4:30 to 5 p.m. And you can see in its appointment, so to make it a meeting, we got to invite somebody. Let's click invite. There's the to field. K for Carrie Heffernan, and then W for Wilberforce, Mr. Humphreys, and that's it. All I have to do is go ahead and click send, and well, okay, the location is the kitchen. If you need a location because they don't know where the fridge is at, go ahead and type it in. I'm going to click send anyways, and away it goes. And you can see it's updated. Now it's, well, we got a lunch with Mr. Humphreys, but after that, we've got a meeting that hopefully other people will accept the invitation and attend, because if they don't, I'm going to throw away everything in the fridge. Well, unless it looks fresh and tasty, in which case, hey, you know. Here I want to show you how you can update a task that's in progress as well as marking it complete when you finish the task. For example, like cleaning the fridge, double click on it to open it up. You can see the status is not started. You can also click on the drop down arrow and say it's in progress. However, you don't have anything that's keeping track of it, like with the % complete. So if you want to do it that way, well, you can leave it in progress, but notice that if I go back to not started and I come over here and use the spin dials, it does it in 25% increments, as well as updating the status field to in progress. So if I go back to not started and I don't want to do it by 25%, like maybe 1%, hit the tab key, you can see the status is now in progress. You can also click on the drop down arrow and say it's completed, and when you do that, it marks it at 100%, and or you can say not started and mark it to 100% here, and it's completed. And you'll notice up here in the Manage Task group that the mark complete is no longer available because, well, it shows down here it's complete. So you can do it up there if you say not started instead of clicking on the drop down arrow to choose it, or typing in 100% to show that it's marked complete. Just click on Mark Complete, saves and closes out of it. Then back in the task folder, not the to-do list, but the task folder, you can see that it's checked here because the difference between the task and the to-do list is in the task folder. You get a checkbox to mark it complete, which is another way you can mark your task complete, and it marks it at 100%, and in this view also puts a line through it. And what's nice about this view is that it'll stay here forever. That's to let you know that you actually accomplished something, but if you need a quick reference to come back and say, what did I accomplish? Or maybe I actually didn't, and there's a few things that I need to work on before it's actually completed, so it really wasn't. In any case, if you change your mind, you can always uncheck it or say, well, my mistake, let me go ahead and check it, and that marks it complete as well. And you can see that when I uncheck it up here in the Manage Task group, you can mark it complete with it selected. And like I said, it always stays in this folder until you either delete it or you can remove it from the list, in which case it goes to the garbage can. So to retrieve it, you can come up here and hit the undo if it was the most recent action, or you can come over here and go to the mail folder in the, well, let me get off of it. There it is. In the deleted items folder here, it's selected, so it's clean fridge. Just click and drag that back to the task folder. Let go back to the task folder, and there it is. So you can see the difference again between the to-do list and, well, when it's marked complete, it's not going to be in the to-do list. So if I go back to the task and uncheck it, and it's now in progress or it hasn't begun, and I go back to the to-do list, you can see that it's there as well. And you can also come over here and right-click on the flag and also mark it complete. Phew, there's just so many ways to do this. In any case, it removes it from your to-do list, which is a combination of every task that you created that hasn't been marked complete, and any other Outlook item that you flagged, as opposed to, well, let me just focus on the tasks and not everything else that I have to do to go over the items in the task folder here. And of course, you can see over here that the flag has been checked. So as far as the to-do go, if it's been flagged, it goes to the to-do list. If it's been checked, it's no longer there. But since it's a task, it belongs in the task folder, again, until you delete it. You know those little yellow sticky notes that you can write on, tear it off, and it's got some sort of sticky substance on it that you can then paste it or post it onto your monitor as a reminder or somebody's forehead? Well, you can do it virtually here in Outlook. And the definition of Outlook Notes is that you can use it to capture small pieces of information to remember or that you don't want to lose or forget. So to go ahead and create a sticky note, come down below in the navigation pane, click on the three dots, the More button, and then click on Notes. And there's many ways you can create a new note. Just come up here on the Home tab in the New group, click on New Note, close out. You can also use the shortcut keys Control-N as in Nancy, New Note, close out. You can right-click to left-click on New Note, close out, or you can go ahead and double-click in a blank area, and there you go. And then just go ahead and type in your note. Pick up donuts tonight for the ghost investigation. And then when you're done, just go ahead and click on the X. There's no save button. It'll automatically save it, and there you go. And if you need to make some changes to it, just double-click to open it back up, delete, add some text. You can also click and drag to select your text, and then right-click on it. You get no formatting options. It's just plain and simple text. But you can cut it, copy, paste it, clear it, do select all, to right-click on everything to cut, copy, paste, and clear it. Let me click off. You get the date and time down below when you created the note. And then you got the resizing corner of it that when you hover over it, when you see arrows pointing in opposite directions, you can click and drag and whoa, you can go ahead and resize it however you would like. And you can also reposition it. So if I click on the bar here and put it right there and I close out, next time when I double click and open it up, it's back in its same position. And then you can click on that little note in the upper left-hand corner to get more options, which some of these options you can find up here on the Home tab, like delete, forward, and categorize. So first of all, you got the Save As, click on that, and you can save it, not as a sticky note, but as an Outlook message. You can see the message type that you can save to your desktop, that when you open it up, it'll open up as a sticky note, as long as you got Outlook installed on your computer. Click on the drop-down arrow. You can save it as text only, that is, if you want to be able to send this on to somebody who doesn't have Outlook, because hey, everybody can read plain text. Let's go ahead and click cancel and come back up, click on the tag. You can delete it. Of course, you can come up here and delete it as well, forward it. There's the forward. Click on forward if you want to forward it on to somebody. Type in their email address, and then down below the subject of it, which is the entire content of the sticky note. And I'm going to go ahead and close out of that, not save it, and then click on it again. If you have some text selected, you can cut, copy, or even paste. You can also categorize it. So let's do Ghost Hunt. Ooh, that's a pretty color. Now it's categorized. And then click on it again. And then, well, you can save and close, but if you go ahead and just click on the X, it'll actually save and close it for you as well. Let's go ahead and create a few more notes really quickly. Double click and say this is some more notes. And then let's go ahead and categorize that also as Ghost Hunt. And then close out. Let's do one more. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to show you that, let's do apple picking. Okay, I think I want to do one more. Can I just do one more? Okay, one more. And then let's do categorize to happy events. Oh, that's happy. Let's go ahead and close out. So the current view up here you can see is by icon. You can also do it as a list. Select that. And by default for me, it's grouping them together by categories. So the Ghost Hunt, there's two items there. You can go ahead and click to expand it and focus on those two. You can also decategorize it and just sort it by when it was created. Click on it and it sorts it accordingly. Of course, the purples are back to back, so it's already been grouped together, though it was more serendipity because I could have created or changed a color like this one more from a happy event to ghost hunting. You know, right click on it and say it's now Ghost Hunt. Oh, now we got it to right click to remove happy events. And so then of course I can go ahead and click on categories and it groups them by categories. So the three here and then just the one for apple picking. I'm going to go back to the icon because that just looks fancier. And let's go back to our mail folder to the inbox and have Carrie send us a message to see what it looks like when you receive one on your end from somebody who forwarded their sticky note onto you. And then come up here and let's click send and receive. There it is, FW forward, there's the attachment, and double click on it. There's the sticky note, which is the entire subject here. And so if you want to be able to click on the drop-down arrow and save it to your notes folder, it won't work here because when you do save as, it wants to save it as a message file. So if you want to add this to your notes folder, then we're going to have to do a little bit of shuffling. Click and drag that over here so I can come over here. Click on the More button. Of course, that falls behind this window here because now that window's on top because I selected it. Go to the Notes folder. Once I'm in the Notes folder, then I can come back down here and put that back on top. So I can click and drag her sticky note, and you can see my pointer's got a plus sign below it. That means it's making a copy of it into my Notes folder. Let's go ahead and click and drag the title bar over so I can get the Close button, or I can just come down here and right-click in the jump list and left-click on Close Window, and there we go. Need 10 flashlights for the group joining us in the Ghost Investigations tonight. And then, of course, right-click so I don't have to open it up to get some of the options here, including Categorize, which is for the Ghost Hunt event. Select Ghost Hunt, and looks good. Have you ever sent off an email message and you're like, oopsie doodle, didn't mean to send that off. Oh, great, I'm going to get in trouble. Like this annual pumpkin festival here that I've already asked Carrie about. And if I click send, she's going to get angry at me. Well, I can use the message recall that will delete this from the inbox if it meets the following criteria. 1, we're both connected to an Exchange server. 2, the message hasn't been opened. 3, it has not been moved out of the inbox. And 4, the receiver is running Outlook and is logged in. So if I come up here and click send, and away it goes, and I'm like, whoopsie doodle, oh great, I didn't mean to do that. Well, remember, every time you send off a message, there's a copy of it over in the Sent Items folder. Go ahead and select it, and it's right there. To recall it or delete it from the person's inbox, double click, and then come up here, and then go ahead and go to the Move group, and click on the More Move Actions, and we want to go down to recall this message. And you can see in the pop-up, message recall can delete or replace copies of this message in the recipient's inbox if the message has not been read. Well, there's a side note to that I'll talk about in just a minute. Let's go ahead and click on Recall this message, and you get a couple of options. You can delete the unread copies of this message or delete unread copies and replace it with a new message. The only difference between the two is that, of course, both will be deleted, but after it sends out the recall to delete the message, it'll open up a new window for you to go ahead and type in a new message, which we'll go over in just a minute. Let's go ahead and delete unread copies. Click OK. And it says right here, information. You've tried to recall this message on Thursday, and date and time. Let's go ahead and close out. And if it's successful, let's go to the inbox. We should get something here that says successful. Hey, there we go. Message recall was successful for the Pumpkin Festival subject. And you can see the icon there that represents the recall. The little arrow pointing back, it means that it's coming back to you, or more technically accurate, it destroyed that message you sent off over to Carrie from her inbox. And you can see check mark, mission completed. Of course, you can go ahead and double click to open it up if you really want to read what's already in the subject there. Your message was recalled successfully. Oh, great. Let's go ahead and close out. Now let's go ahead and do it again. And only this time, let's see what it looks like when she opens up and reads it. The rejection that we get, that it was not a success. So to go ahead and resend it, go to the Sent Items folder, and hey, looky there. That's what we sent off originally, but when we do a recall, you get this little icon here. I don't know if you can see it, it's so tiny. You got 3 dudes, and next to the first dude is a check mark, then an X and a question mark. In any case, that's the indicator to let you know that you did a recall on this. In any case, let's go ahead and double click to open it up. You tried to recall this, and it was a success, but let's go ahead and resend it again. Click on the drop-down arrow in the same group, the Move group, and go down to resend this message. Opens it up, we'll send the same thing, click send, only this time, let me go ahead and close out, and let me go ahead and have Carrie actually open it up. So with it open and being read, when I go ahead and try to recall it, double click to open up that message, come back up here in the Move group, click on the drop-down arrow to recall this message, and we can do delete unread copies and replace with a new message. Click OK, so it sends out the recall to delete the message, and then it opens up a new message or a copy of it that, well, you can delete it, type in something else, then send it off. So when it deletes it, this will take its place. If it doesn't delete it, you send this off, not only will you not have the original message deleted, but you'll have a new one in its place. And there you go. Recall failure. Oh, that's horrifying. Let's go ahead and open it up. Cannot be recalled because it's opened. Let's go ahead and close it out. Now let's go ahead and try it again. Come up here to the Move group, click on the drop-down arrow, and say recall this message. And we'll just delete the unread copies of the message, click OK. And why am I doing this again? Because I want to show you what happens. It's not because I'm doing it again that the Exchange server goes, oh, well, let me go ahead and give you a bypass. You see how it says it was successful now? Why? Because here's the tidbit, the trick, that you know how you can go ahead and, let me close out of here and go back to the inbox. You can take a message and right-click on it. Let me right-click on it and mark it as being unread. So she's in her inbox and going, oh, that's nice. He asked me this. Ooh, I'm so angry. I'm going to have to address this later. And she marks it as being unread. I can go ahead and recall that. So you may want to keep that in mind. If you're up here marking things as being unread, anybody can recall it even though you actually read it, which brings up another point that I'll never know she already read it, and then just simply right-clicked on it to mark it as being unread when I recall it, because the recall will be successful, obviously, because technically it has not been read according to Outlook. You can't tell that you actually read it as going off your actions here. When you mark it as unread, it's never being read. Have you ever tried to send a file, attach a file to an email message, and it got rejected because the size was too huge, or it was biggie, you know, big and piggy, so it's biggie? Well, there it is. Let me right-click on it and go down to Properties to show you the size, 336 megabytes. That's pretty huge. So when I close out and I open up Outlook, double-click, and I click OK to go to my Outlook data profile. And I double-click in a blank area to create a new email message. And I come up here, click on the Insert tab, go to the Include group and click on Attach File and select the biggie file. And it says, the file you're attaching is bigger than the server allows. Try putting the file in a shared location and sending a link instead. No, I don't like that. We're going to go ahead and change that. And to do that, we're going to go into our registry key, which when we do, you want to make sure you do exactly as I'm doing, because if you do something else, you could turn to stone and so could your computer. So stay on the path. Now this will take care of it from our end on the computer here, unless of course you're connected to an Exchange server and your IT dude has put limits on what you can send. Well, then that's beyond my scope here to be able to show you what you can do on your end, unless you want to talk to them. In any case, let's go ahead and close out and fix this. And let's close out of Outlook altogether. So when we go ahead and do the fix, it's already refreshed. And we can open up Outlook as opposed to leaving it open, making the change. Then we'd have to close out of Outlook to open it back up to refresh it then. So to go ahead and enter in the registry key zone, as it were, click on the Start button, and in the instant search, type in reg edit, R-E-G-E-D-I-T, and it's right there, reg edit. Go ahead and click on it. And it says, you sure you want to be going in here, because if you do something that we don't like, we could be frozen. Well, yes. And then what you want to do is, let's go ahead and maximize it. And let's start up at the top. Let's scroll over here and scroll over and scroll up. I've already been in here tinkering around. And let's collapse it, because it's probably going to look like this. Everything's going to look collapsed. And you have a total of 5 keys. You want to go ahead and expand the H key current user. When you expand that, go down to Software right there, and then expand Software. And then scroll down to find Microsoft. It's listed alphabetically, so there's M for Microsoft. And then continue to go down after you expand that and find Office. And then after you expand Office, the current version that we're in is 2016. Well, there it is, 16. After you expand that, then go down and find and expand Outlook. Whew, it's a lot of expansions here. And then go ahead, after Outlook has been expanded, go down and find Preferences. Once you find Preferences, then come up here with it selected, of course. Click on Edit, and let's go down to New. And we want a new DWORD 32-bit value. Click on that. And down below, it's in edit mode. We can go ahead and type in the name of it, which is maximum attachment size. All one word. Hit enter. Now, if you're like, oh, I didn't spell that right, well, that's okay. Just go ahead and right-click on it and rename it. And then go ahead and make sure that you have it spelled as I do here. Maximum attachment size. Hit enter to accept that. And then go ahead and double-click on it to open it up. And the default value is 0. If it's 0, that means there's no limit for the attachments. If you want to place a limit upon it, like for example 30 megabytes, then you want to type in kilobytes, which is 30720. So 30,720 kilobytes equals 30 megabytes. That's the limit. And since I don't want a limit, I'm going to go ahead and delete that, type in 0, and click OK. Now we're good to go. Let's go ahead and close out and open up Outlook. Double click Click OK for my Outlook profile. Double click in a blank area to open up a new email message. Come up here, click on the Insert tab, click on Attach File, select Big E. Hey! The Big E Piggy has been attached. Fabulous. There are two message settings that I want to go over that will tell the receiver how to treat your email messages, including importance and sensitivity. For importance, you can mark it as low, normal, or high. For sensitivity, it can be normal, personal, private, or confidential. And I got this message I want to send off to Carrie about throwing a surprise birthday party for Mr. Humphreys in a couple of weeks. So the importance I could say is high because we got to get right on it, want to make sure we don't miss his birthday, and we want to throw a surprise birthday party. To keep it a surprise, I'll say the sensitivity is confidential or private. In other words, don't share it, especially with Mr. Humphreys. Well, everybody else, so they know what's going on. In any case, to go ahead and mark these settings for the message, you can do it one of a couple of ways. Either come up here on the Message tab and go to the Tags group, and for the importance, you can mark it high there, and you can see it's selected, or low. Let's go to high, and then for the sensitivity, click on the expandable dialog box button for the Tags group, click on it, and you can see we're in the Properties window. For the settings, there's importance high, so if I change it to low, it'll update it when I close out to low. And for the sensitivity, instead of normal, let's make it private. Then go ahead and click close, and it flips to low. Now, if you're on the Options tab, you can come over here to the More Options and click its expandable dialog box button, and it's the same window. And so what you do there, let's mark it as high. Close will also update it on the Message tab in the Tags group. There you go. High importance. Muy importante. Let's go ahead and click Send, and away it goes. And as you recall, every time we send off a message, it stores a copy of it over in the Sent Items folder, what we sent off. You can see right there in that exclamation mark column, it's the importance column. So you see an exclamation mark there, then, hey, whoa, that's really important. And you can double click to open it up to see what you sent. Please treat as private with high importance. And that's the same thing that she's going to get on her end. In fact, let me go ahead and have Carrie send us an email message so I can show you what it looks like when you get one with those settings set. And let's come up here, click on Send Receive. And there we go, a red exclamation mark. Oh, that's important. Double click. And you can see in the information area, please treat this as confidential. So if somebody's looking over your shoulder, you can go, excuse us, I'm having a private reading here with this confidential email. And then this message was sent with high importance. So you'll see the high importance when you're looking at the message in the inbox, but you'll also see it tagged here. But as far as sensitivity, you have to actually open it up to read it here in the information area. And then, of course, you can come up here, click on the expandable dialog box button for the Tags group. You can't change the sensitivity, but you can change the high if you're like, yeah, okay, haunted house investigation, not my priority here. I'm going to set it to low. Click Close. It updates it here to low importance. And then when you close out, be sure to save it. You can see it turns into a blue arrow pointing down. So that's what it's going to look like as well. If she sends me an email message with being a low importance, it's just a downer, isn't it? Why even open it up? Well, it's got some importance. Maybe it's an FYI, so at least you can know that there's an investigation going on. I wouldn't totally dismiss it. And so you can go ahead and change that. And then if you want to go ahead with it selected, click on Forward and see what options you get. Well, you can change it. Hey, this is high importance. I'm going to send it to Mr. Humphreys. And click on the expandable dialog box button for the tags and maybe change it to normal. And there's nothing in the information area that's going to show because when it's normal, why show anything? But if it's personal, private, or confidential, it'll pop up there. And then, of course, if you set it to normal here as well, then you'll have nothing in the information area showing anything because it's all normal. The voting email feature allows you to send as well as reply and forward email messages about topics that allows others to vote on and get a tally of those votes. So for example, if I open up a new email message by double-clicking in a blank area and I want to use the voting feature, come up here on the Message tab, go to the Tags group, and click on its expandable dialog box button. And there it is, use the voting buttons. You can do it this way, or you can do it from a message that you've already received, like the haunted house investigation. Double-click. You can forward, or let's do a reply. And then up here on the Message tab to the Tags group, go ahead and click on its expandable dialog box button and check Use Voting Buttons. And then see what options you get. Well, you only get 3, but hey, I'll show you in just a minute how you can tweak this and get a ton more options than what you see here. But for right now, let's keep it simple and do yes, no, and then close out. It saves it, and you can see up here in the information area, you added voting buttons to this message. Now to add a little context as to what they're doing or the purpose of this email message, let's go ahead and write in. Would this Saturday be a good day for everyone to do this investigation? Please vote on the ribbon above in the respond group, yes or no. Okay, first of all, everyone, I just have one. So let's go ahead and add Mr. Humphreys in the carbon copy field. There you go, that's everyone. And then second of all, please vote on the ribbon above. So what they're going to do in this message, here's a clue. When they get this message up above in the ribbon in the respond group, it'll say respond here, not basic text, that they can click on a button to vote. So we're kind of giving them a little heads up in case if they never voted before, and if they have or they've watched this training video, then they'll know what I'm talking about. And I'll show you that in just a minute. After we send this off, we'll have Carrie send us an option, topic to vote on. And then once they respond, they get the option if they want to send a note with their response. So let's go ahead and send this off and close out and wait for their responses here. And then let's go ahead and click on send and receive. Oh, we get a big fat no. What's the deal? Double click to see if she sent. Well, there we go. She included a note down below. I'm busy this weekend. Can we do it next weekend? And you can see up here the sender responded no, as well as in the subject, a big fat no. You can imagine if you got like dozens or hundreds of these responses coming in and you're trying to plan for how many are coming to bring enough donuts, instead of going through and counting up each sporadic yes here, if you do get a lot of yeses, instead go to the sent items folder, because remember, every message you send off, it keeps a copy of it here. And you can see it's right there. And you can see that little icon. Well, you got 3 dudes on one side, the check, the X, and then the question mark. So in this case, it's an indicator for voting. If you double click on it, up here in the show group, you can track. You can check on who's coming to your meeting and of the status, delivery, and any read receipts. Select it and, okay, it's kind of like duplicating here, the email addresses. I've been responding back and forth outside of the video here to the same email message and had her resent it. In any case, if it's going to be ghosting like that, where her email is listed twice and it may kind of be quirky for Mr. Humphreys, it'll respond correctly. It's not going to duplicate it, as you can see here. Just one response from, well, the same email address in any case. This is the one that we're looking at. We got a no, the date and the time, and we have a total of 1 no. So we don't have to plan on bringing any donuts yet, unless, of course, Mr. Humphrey says yes, and it will automatically tally it for us. Isn't that awesome? So if you got dozens or hundreds, and you're like, I can't keep track of all this, just come here and say, okay, we got 30 yeses. That's exactly how many donuts I have to bring. And then to go back to the message, up in the show group, go ahead and click on message to remind yourself what the question was about. Would this Saturday be a good day to do this investigation? So 1 no. Let's go ahead and close out. Go back to the inbox and see if we get any more responses. Okay, let's go ahead and come up here, click on send receive. And Mr. Humphreys is a no. And, oh, wait a second, what's this? Yes, from Carrie. Didn't she just say no? She can change her mind, and she can change her mind as many times as she'd like. And so we've got a yes, and then we have a no. Double click to find out no go. I'm doing another investigation this Saturday with my family at the zoo. Oh, what a good dad. Let's go ahead and close out and see how it handles it. The tracking, go to the sent items folder, open up that message that we sent off, double click. In the show group, click on tracking. And yeah, duplicated Mr. Humphrey's email address. Well, that's my thing here, that I got an issue going on. It's not the typical, and I doubt you'll see it when it comes to you sending out your votes. In any case, it's not going to duplicate them. And you can see that where Carrie used to be a no and Mr. Humphreys is a no, you see we don't have 2 no's, so it updated and changed her vote to a yes. So we have 1 donut and, well, 1 for me, so that would be 2, plus her family, so we got to bring it for everybody. Now let's go ahead and close out of here, and let's create another voting email, only this time let's customize the voting options. Double click in a blank area. How many ghosts do you think we'll capture on film in this upcoming investigation? Okay, let's go ahead and set the voting options. Up here to the tags group, click its expandable dialog box button. Use the voting buttons, and none of these are going to work for us, so we just need to select one. And then all we have to do is go ahead and click inside it and delete the text that's there and replace it with whatever we want and use the semicolons as the delimiters that will separate each choice. So we could say, do we think we'll capture 1 ghost or 2, 3, semicolon I mean, or an Ichabod, meaning that if we don't capture 1, 2, or 3, are we going to be too scared that if we do see 1, we won't capture them on film and we'll just run? That's an Ichabod. Well, let's go ahead and click close. You added the voting buttons to your message. Let's go ahead and click send, and that's how you customize it. Just type over whatever's there and make sure you got your semicolons, your delimiters separating those choices. And let's go ahead and click on send receive. Oh, there we go. Okay, first of all, Mr. Humphreys says we'll capture 3, and then Carrie says Ichabod. Oh, I'm curious, double click. Are you kidding me? I hear this is one of the spookiest places that other investigators didn't even last 30 minutes. All right, good to know. She's not a team player. Let's go ahead and close out. And then we can, of course, go back to the sent items folder. How many ghosts right there above the previous one that we had voting on, responding to the haunted house investigation. Double click, click on tracking, and there you go. We've got 1 Ichabod and 1 response that says 3. And then up here, the tally. Oh, this gets a little bit confusing when you're using numbers. So we know it's 1, 3, and 1 Ichabod, and 0, 1, and 0, 2. Maybe it's best not to use numbers at all, in any case. Let's go ahead and have Carrie send us a voting email message to see what it looks like when you get one. And let's go ahead and click send receive. Well, that thing's kind of like always off to the side. Okay, never mind, I'm focused. Investigation snacks, double click to open it up. What do you guys want me to bring for snacks in this ghost investigation? Please select above. Above what? Well, here in the information area, it says vote by clicking vote in the respond group above. So unless they're kind of looking around, they won't see this here. If they're just reading down below and above, they could look up here. Well, in any case, it's in the respond group as it says. There's the vote. Click on it. Donuts, cookies, or carrots. Aha. Well, if I go ahead and choose carrots, I can just send the response or edit that and click OK and say something like, instead of making it an either or, how about if we make it an and? How about donuts and carrots? Go ahead and click send. And then, of course, if you forgot what you responded, you've got the information here. Your response was carrots, but if you want to come up and change your mind and go, you know what, I want donuts. Send response now. No, I changed my mind. How about if we go with cookies? Send the response now. I mean, you can just go nuts with this. Every email message before you send it off has its own tracking and delivery options that you can set. For example, I want to send this email message off to Carrie wishing her a happy birthday. Before I click on the send button, let's see what options we get by coming over here to the tags group and clicking on its expandable dialog box button. And there you go, voting and tracking options and delivery. Now, we already went over the voting in an earlier training video, so you can watch that, and we won't cover it here. And then down below, you can request a delivery receipt for this message, meaning that when you check that, it only works when you're connected to the Exchange server, that as soon as it delivers it to Carrie's inbox, it'll send a message to me saying that the message has been delivered. And then below that, you can request a read receipt. So when Carrie gets the message and she double clicks to open it up, it'll prompt her asking her if she wants to send me a read receipt. If she says yes, it'll send that receipt back to me saying she read it at this time. Well, technically she didn't read it. She just said, go ahead and send a read receipt, meaning that she actually opened it, because after she said yes, she could have closed right out of it and not have read any of it. In any case, keep that in mind. And then down below, we've got the delivery options like have replies sent to. Now, the default, when you check it, is going to put your name in it. So if you don't check it, it's still going to have the replies sent to you. But if you want the replies sent to somebody else because maybe you're not handling this anymore, you can delete your name and type in other email addresses, or you can leave your name there and add additional emails to it. And of course, use the delimiter semicolon to separate those email addresses. You can do it that way, or if they're in your global address list or your personal contacts folder, go ahead and click on select names. And well, if they're listed there, great. You can click on the drop down arrow and go to the global address list or your contacts folder. I only have one, but if you had more, you'd select them and click on reply to, click OK. It would add their name or names if you wanted more to be included in those replies. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck it, and leaving it unchecked, the default will have them sent back to me. Then we'll cover this in just a second. Down below by default, it'll save a copy of the sent message in my sent items folder. If I uncheck it and I send this off, and I'm like, okay, I can't remember if I sent Carrie a happy birthday email. Oh fudge, let me go ahead and check the sent items folder, because remember, by default, every time you send a message off, reply, a forward, any type, it saves a copy of it in the sent items folder. If I uncheck this and I check the folder and I'm like, okay, I don't see anywhere a copy of that message that I actually sent her wishing her a happy birthday. Oh man, I better hurry and send her a happy birthday. So when I actually sent her one, if I'm going off of memory, I'm not going to get any help here by unchecking this, because it won't save a copy of it in my sent items folder. So she'll get a second happy birthday email message until my memory kicks in and says, oh, you already sent it, you just didn't save a copy of it in the sent items folder. So that's up to you. If you want a copy, maybe you don't want to be tracked, so you can go ahead and uncheck that. And then down below the contacts, click on that to go ahead. From the contacts folder, add any contacts that you want, and this is just tied to you. It doesn't go with the message. So when you send the message, you can add contacts to that message that will be tied to it. You can check that in the sent items. Or you can tie a category to it as well. Click on the drop-down arrow. Ooh, Ghost Investigations. I know it's happy birthday. Maybe we need to click on the drop-down arrow and go to all categories and then change it and say for happy events. In any case, there you go. And then back up here, do not deliver before. Let me check that. So let's say her birthday is on, let's go over here, at the end of the month, April 30th. And I want to be able to have this delivered on time. So that way I got everything prepared, the email message, and I don't want to send it early because her birthday isn't until April the 30th, and I don't want to send it late in the afternoon, so let's do 8 a.m. Nice, and ooh, we can go ahead and do 6 a.m., like we're really on it. So what's going to happen is when that date and time comes, if I have my Outlook program open at that time, it'll send it off. But if for some reason I don't have it open, like let's say a month later, I come back from some long vacation, and I open it up like May 30th, the moment I open it up, Outlook's going to look at this date and go, oh my, it's like a month later. It's past April 30th at 6 a.m. Let me go ahead and send it off. Zing, and away it goes. In which case, it's a belated birthday, but oh well. Keep that in mind. You have to have Outlook open in order for it to automatically send it off for you. So if you're concerned about other people accessing your programs, well, leave Outlook open. Just lock your computer down. So that way, when it comes to that date and time, it'll send it off, and from their point of view, you were up at 6 a.m. They won't know. And then down below, expires after. So let's say it expires on her birthday. So let's go ahead and go to April 30th, and let's do it at 11:59 p.m. What that does is that if she opens the email message, then it'll put a line through it once it goes past this time. But if she doesn't open the email message, and it goes to midnight, May 1st, it'll actually delete the message from her inbox, and it's like she never knew she had it. Unless she saw it, she just never opened it up, and then she'd go, hey, what happened to this message? Well, because I put an expiration on it, after a date, if she didn't open it up, it will self-destruct and be deleted. And so that can be used for other things, like if you're selling something, you're saying, hey, we got this sale here, it's going to expire at this date and time, so when they get the message for Hush Puppies, that's going to expire at this date and time. That's going to expire on April 30th, let's say, that when they open this May 1st, they see a line through it, they'll know, okay, the sale's no longer there. And you could probably have a message in there saying, hey, this expires on April the 30th. So obviously, if they're not watching the training video and they don't know anything about the expiration and why their email message has a line through it after they opened it and it went past the expiration date, well, maybe you can educate them, or hey, go ahead and have them watch my training video. Let's go ahead and close out, and it saves it. There's no save button, so if you come back up here, click on the expandable dialog box button, it remembers everything. Close out, let's go ahead and click send, and then wait for our inbox here, because remember, I requested a delivery receipt, so the moment it delivers it to Carrie's inbox, I'll get a kickback, a message that says that the message has been delivered. Again, it only works for the delivery receipt if you're connected to a Microsoft Exchange server. Now, I'm sitting here waiting, going, why am I not getting a delivery receipt? The reason being is because it's sitting in my outbox. Now, why is it sitting in my outbox? Do you remember? Because it's not supposed to deliver it before April 30th. Oh boy. You see, you didn't catch me on that, did you? So go ahead and double click to open it up, which brings up a good point. If you want to change any of this at any point and it hasn't been sent off, Then go ahead and expand the tags group. You can uncheck do not deliver before and then close out and then click send and zing, away it goes. So let's go back to our inbox and wait for that delivery receipt to come in. There you go, that was fast. And you can see that little arrow pointing in. It's gotten to its point of destination. Happy birthday, your message has been delivered to the following recipients. Double click to open it up to get more details. It's Carrie. Subject, happy birthday. Great. Now let's go ahead and have her open up her email message and get that option to go ahead and say that she does want to send me a read receipt. And you get the option to not ask about these settings again. You can check that, and so if somebody keeps bugging you to send a read receipt, you can check that and never be notified again. In any case, if she went ahead and said no, I wouldn't get any message that she actually read it. But we'll have her say yes so we can see what it looks like on our end. And to speed things up, let me go ahead and click send and receive here. Oh, there we go. Okay, took a little bit. And you can see the difference between that icon and this one. This one was an arrow pointing that it got delivered. This one is a check mark saying, hey, everything's good. In what sense? Your message. It was read. Go ahead and double click to open it up. Your message sent on that date and time was read on at this date and time. Fabulous. Let's go ahead and close out. Okay, let's go ahead and delete these. And then have Carrie send us an email message so I can go over the expiration date here with you. Okay, got an email message from Carrie. Hey, Kurt. Well, let's go ahead and double click to open it up. If you and your family drop by the office real soon, we have homemade apple pie for everyone. Now, when I come up here to the tags group and click its expandable dialog box button, you can see below it expires. Oh, wow, look at the time down below. Today, in just 1 minute. Let's go ahead and close out of here. So because I opened it up and read it, it's not going to delete it from my inbox. So instead, when it goes past due, past when it expires at 7:53, it'll put a line through it to indicate, well, if you watch this training video, that this apple pie invitation has expired real soon. Wow, that's super soon. It's past due. You can see down below it's 7:54. And so if it's not putting a line through it, we need to refresh it. So let's just go ahead and go to another folder like the deleted items. Then come back to our inbox, and there you go. There's a line through it. It's expired. Line through the from, subject, that whole line there. Double click to open it up. This message expired on Thursday, March 15th, 2018, 7:53. No more apple pie. Oh, that's sad. Let's go ahead and close out. And let's delete that and have Carrie send us another email message so we can find out what it looks like to have a read receipt attached to it. So she sent it. When I double click on it, there you go. Carrie Heffernan requested a read receipt be sent when message apple pie is read. Do you want to send a read receipt? Now this is a one-time shot, so if I go ahead and say yes, it'll send it off to her. If I say no, then she'll never know. Let me go ahead and, well, you can see it open it up for me. And it said no. Let me have her resend it again, and only this time I want to show you something that's interesting that I think you ought to be aware of. Okay, so we'll delete this one, and she sent me the same message again with the read receipt. And there we go. So instead of double clicking on it, what you can do is you can click and drag it over to the side. And if I click and drag that message to my desktop and I double click on it, I don't get that read receipt prompt. So I can close out, go ahead and restore my Outlook, double click on it, then I get the read receipt. So you're probably asking yourself, well, how does that work? How do I know before I actually double click on it? Because I get that one-time shot to read it before I actually read it, and then go ahead maybe several days later, open it up and say, yes, I read it, with a quick reply that I had that time to ponder and think about it and quickly type in a response. I mean, okay, that's not being honest, but nonetheless, I want to show you because I thought it was interesting. So the way that you work around it, you can hold down the keys, Control-Alt-Delete, as I'm going to do here. And I'm going to go to the Start Task Manager. And I'm going to go to my Outlook program and end the task and end it now. And it closes out of Outlook. So I'm not caught up here by saying no or yes just to get rid of that box. But now that I know that it's a read receipt and I closed out of it by using the Control-Alt-Delete keys and in that Task Manager ending that program, when I reopen Outlook, well, to the Exchange because that's where I was at, and I double click, See, it pulls up. So that way I'm not stuck and going, oh, great, I have no way to get around this because I want to have time to read about it for whatever reason. Again, hey, we're trying to be honest here, but I thought it was interesting, even though you've read it several days earlier, and then go ahead and click on reply and then type in a message that you probably already have set up in Microsoft Word and copy and paste it over into the body of the message after you hit reply. Let's do it here, and then send it off. And so that would look really super weird if somebody sent you something that would take at least a couple of days to work on, and after a couple of days they got a read receipt saying you just barely read it, and you copied and pasted all the text in here that you were working on the past couple of days and send it off, like, wow, that was done instantly. It could be an April Fool's joke, but in any case, I thought that was interesting and wanted to bring that to your attention. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel to get notified of the latest videos. And for great specials on my products, please see the description below this video.